Hi everyone, this is Professor Oerther, and this is going to be just an introduction to Lab Archives, so that way you get an idea as to how it operates, how to edit, how to navigate it. And for Lab Archives, this will be how we primarily will gather and save our information from each experiment we do in the lab. Now, in our lab, we are going to have, or rather in our course, we're going to have multiple labs, and to access each data sheet, there will be a separate module on Canvas where you can find them. But once you click through on that data sheet, it'll drop you off onto the Lab Archive site. And from here, each data sheet will be linked to a different experiment we'll be completing. Now, once you're on Lab Archives, definitely take a look around. There are going to be some different options that open up. First, once you access this from Canvas, this little message here will disappear. You do need to access each of the individual data sheets from the linked Canvas module. So go to Experiment 3, go to that module, click on the data sheet, and it'll bring you here. Now, on each of these, what's important is each data sheet must be completed by all students individually. So these are individual assignments. You must complete your own data sheets. If you don't complete these and submit them, then unfortunately you will not receive a grade for the assignment. So definitely once you come in the lab, you'll be able to open these up, you'll be able to start working on them, and you'll be able to fill things in. Now, on the data sheet, each section kind of is broken down to different titled parts. This checklist can be really helpful to go through while you're completing each experiment. The one that I have open now is for Lab 3. And things to keep in mind when you're going through Lab 3, make sure you have your raw and calculated data recorded to tables. Make sure you have your data recorded to the right number of sig figs or significant figures. Those will be important in each experiment. And there are different parts here. Part 1 is reaction of calcium and zinc with hydrochloric acid and water. There's going to be observations. So these observation tables are for this part 1. And then for part 2, there is a titration that will be completed with the calcium and water product. And this will have some raw and calculated data to include as well. And for part 2, there will also be a picture that will need to be uploaded. This is a PDF file, so it will be important to take the photo and then convert it to a PDF so that way you can upload it. And this one will have to be once you're at the endpoint. So we'll talk about this more during the experiment, but the long and short is make sure you have your data entered in for the different parts. And you'll also need to make sure to include a picture as well. And once you're done, you'll click the submit button. At the top of the datasheet, and for each different part, these are all editable sections. So you can actually take and edit each of these parts if you want. And you can edit them by clicking on the pencil to the top left side. This won't show up until you start hovering your cursor around it. So up at the top, if you click on the pencil, this will allow you to make different changes to your entries. This top part, this can be where you can enter in your partner's name, and this will be important to include on each of your data sheets once you have a partner for the lab. You will be working in partners throughout the course. So you can enter in your partner's name here, and you can save it but not submit. And then when you're done with everything, you then click submit to finally lock the data sheet. So clicking submit will mean you can't make any additional edits, and this is important for you to do within the 24-hour period of completing your lab experiment. So each data sheet does need to be completed within 24 hours after the end of your lab. So that'll be where you can go and submit it. If you submit it early, and this happens, don't worry, you can reach out to your teaching assistant, your TA, or you can reach out to your coordinator. Each one, whichever one, we can help you out with that just in case you submit early, but this is the last thing you're going to want to do. Now, in the meantime, for each of the parts, you're going to want to enter in your data. For this first part, reaction of zinc and calcium with water, this has areas where you can fill in your observations. And the second part with the titration, this is where your numerical values are going to want to go along with your calculations. For typing into each of these, they work just like a regular blank entry, so you can type in whatever you like. Here is an observation. And then to save it, you just click Save to Page. And saving it to page will also give you a little timestamp showing you when you last edited that section. Now, for your numbers, it'll be the same thing. You'll just go down to your titration data. You'll go over to the make changes to this entry pencil, and you can type in your masses. So whatever you measure out, you can type that in here. Just make sure that whatever you do type in, you know if there's significant figures, what the instrument showed you, stuff like that. That will be important for you to include on your data. And down here, specifically for these ratios, in this part of the experiment, you are going to need to report two different numbers. So keep some of these things in mind. We'll talk about it more when we do the experiment. This slash here is comparing two different ratios of your mole amounts. So each of these areas you can go through and edit. These are all different parts that you can write in. You can also type in letters into each of these, so you don't have to worry about one particular thing kind of limiting it. Like this can only accept numbers, this can only accept text, it can accept both. Now, an important thing, your calculations. When you're looking at writing these out, it is going to be important to write out formulas, like plug your numbers in, show them like 0.97 plus 0.10. You're going to want to type your numbers out, remembering units if you need to have units here. And then also show your result to the right number of significant figures, 1.07 grams. So these are these areas. It's important to note when you're writing out your calculations to kind of title them. So you can say sum of masses or taking the average, whatever you think will best describe what you're doing. Make sure you do try to organize it like that. List with the right number of sig figs, list your units, but show all of your work, as much work as possible. Do not type out how you think this should be recorded or how this should be completed. This is where your math goes. So make sure that you do try to show that and as completely as possible within that space. And hitting save to page at any point will allow you to save that section, but it only saves that section. You'll notice this section's still right. This one's now kind of a light blue. The light blue section is the part that we're currently working on. And I can't do anything up here. I can't type anything up here as long as this section is still open. So to go back to this previous section, I need to make sure to click Save to Page. That'll save everything that I have at that point. And then up here, I can then go back and make edits again. So a longer data sheet may have more sections that you'll edit, or rather that you'll have to edit, and you may need to just go back and save those parts. But you can type in your numbers, you can type in your letters, you can show your calculations. And then down at the bottom here, this is where you have to upload a picture as a PDF when your reaction is completed. If you need to submit a graph, if you need to submit a picture, these items are going to be submitted through a PDF format or the file format that is listed on the datasheet. This one is listed as a PDF file. And if we go to, let's say, lab number 5, let's take a look at this datasheet real quick. If we go take a look at some of these other file types, you may be asked for, let's see, here we go, for either a PDF, and since this is a graph of our product, this can also be submitted in an Excel file format. Submitting in the file format needed is going to be very important to follow. If it's outside of that format, no credit will be given for it. So please make sure to check that you have the right file format listed. If you're not sure as to how to submit a PDF or to do any conversions, please definitely let us know. We can help you out with that. To upload it, you're going to possibly click on this pencil. This is how we edit everything else, but this submission is going to be a little different. If you ever need to submit or rather upload a picture, go to that area where it says upload picture, hover your cursor, and then move it down just a little bit until you see that insert pop up. If you click on that, that'll give you the option to do heading, widget, rich text, or more. And when you click on more, this is where you can do an attachment and actually upload your PDF file. If you go to Office document, this can also give you some limited options for working in an Excel file as well. So this can also be helpful in case you don't have access to Excel or Google Sheets or another spreadsheet or another basically program that allows you to make spreadsheets. So, but every other type of attachment that you need, let's say you need to upload your picture, you can just go ahead, click on attachment, and that'll give you the option to save and upload your attachment here. Now, make sure after you've uploaded your attachment that you can click on it and open it. If it cannot be opened, then there might be an issue with the file, it could be broken. So just make sure to check on it after you've uploaded your photo. The insert is right here, but honestly, there's a lot of other options and places where you can click insert too. So you can insert the picture above this, you can insert the picture below this point as shown by the cursor. And as long as they are saved to to the data sheet in that section that's listed, that will be good to go. And then once you're done editing your sheet, you can go ahead and hit update and submit and it'll lock the sheet. Now, other data sheets, like let's jump over to Lab 4, may have an extra item at the bottom, a discussion. So your checklist will list that you have to thoroughly discuss your results in the discussion section. Do not use personal pronouns. This one does have your data sheet points where you'll list your information. There are pictures where you'll upload them in PDF format. And at the bottom, there will be some questions that are listed. So make sure that you go through and just kind of take a look at your data sheet, check to see what's available for it, what parts you need to complete. This discussion does need to be included as part of the data sheet when you edit it. So you'll click Make Changes to this entry. If you see this Updated Rich Text Editor option, you can go ahead and just click Classic to kind of get rid of it. And then down here, you'll type in your answers. Now, make sure to not use one sentence for each answer. I know some things can be summed up quickly, but please try to elaborate, talk about your chemical concepts, talk about your data, your numbers. All these things are very important, your observations. And most importantly, also, do not use personal pronouns, not I did this, we did this, our results show this. It can be tough at first to transition out of using it, but try not to use that as much as possible. And then you'll go through and you'll answer these questions. And once this is finished, you've answered them and you're satisfied with it. You've uploaded your photos, you've fixed your data, you've entered in all your calculations. You can scroll up to the top and you can click Update and Submit. Now, hopefully this has been helpful kind of going through the different, or at least going through the data sheets and the different parts. There will be some more time to practice and you're more than welcome to ask us questions while you're working on them with the lab. But like I said, hopefully this was helpful to you. It'll give you a good intro to some of the basics of how Lab Archives operates. And later on, when you start getting feedback from your TAs, one last little thing. You may notice on some sections this comment part. If you click on this, this will open up a little comment bar, and this can be where feedback is given on the data sheet. So keep an eye out for these bits once you've submitted your assignments, once your TAs have given them back to you. And if you have any other questions at all, definitely make sure to let us know.